This is testing for maneuverability, observation skills, understanding the pivot point, whilst driving around the cones in figure of 8, or half a figure of 8 should I say. Getting the wheel past the cone, as this is a 3-wheeler, for him to enable to get in the angle. Straightening the vehicle out so that the tyre, his left-hand tyre, ends up right next to the cone. Stopping at that point, observation, clear. Bringing it around to align himself ready to pick up the pallet off the racking. Aligning himself up. Applying handbrake neutral to use his hydraulics. Going in 1 inch below the ceiling of the pallet to allow the full fork to go in without having to stop. Perfect. Kissing the pallet to make sure his load center of the forks is all the way as far back as possible, making the pallet stable on the forks. Looking reverse while travelling in reverse. Applying handbrake neutral to put the forks and the pallet into the travelling position. Manoeuvring the vehicle around the forks, around the cone, sorry. Going in halfway so he can turn around to see how much more he needs to turn to clear the cone, like so. Straightening out the wheel, going back in reverse to use minimum space around the cones. Looking back and forth to make sure that the forks are not going into anything, any object, any person, and the same as the rear. Okay, now to bring it round the cones again, in forwards. That's fine. Again, stopping at 3 points round the cone to do his observation. To achieve the nice acute angle through the cones. Just looking above him there to make sure that there's nothing above the backrest extension as it goes up, i.e. lights, beams, cables and so on, so it doesn't catch it on the way in, and whilst raising the forks, leaving the pallet staying out by a couple of inches, so that when he tilts it forward, the pallet is level, placing it down perfectly, so all four sides sit down at the same time. Looking in the direction of travel whilst reversing, clearing the forks to bring them down into travelling position again. Always tilt your forks fully back, with or without a load. Back into the starting position. So placing the forks into the parking position with the tips touching the floor, like so. The slight gap at the back.